on page 33 called The Bait Bonanza. I like this one. I like it a little bit too much. I think I kept finding a lot of things that's confirming my bias, and I understand I'm deep in my confirmation bias right now. So for the last 2 days, I've been deep on New Mexico, and I think it's gonna take a while for me to get out of there. So I do apologize for anyone else trying to knock some sense into me. I'm just not capable of physically receiving it right now. My brain will not accept anything else. So I mean, it's actually like it's making more and more sense to me that I'm almost like, do I have the time to get out there? Is can I make that happen? But we'll see. So let's go ahead and cover the story first, and then we'll cover the end, some more stuff with the poem. All right. Hey, what's up, Mom? So the Bait Bonanza is on page 33, and we're covering it. I like Heron Lake, right? So for me, family time is very important. Hey, M Channel, what's going on? For me, family time is very important, and family gatherings. I love family gatherings. I mean, growing up, I think every Christmas was when our family got together, and that's what's a highlight for me. So having something like the Posey family gathering on Lake Heron is pretty important. The North Star thing, a lot of people have pointed out, Polaris, North Star, it's guiding this and that. So the North Star is in the dedication. The North Star is in a few different stories, and the North Star is at the very end when he calls out the compass points. So right here in the beginning, he says our North Star was Heron Lake. I think he uses it repeatedly, intentionally. And I think that's a sign right there. So, okay, moving down, we have every summer we migrated like birds. If you want to do a whole little silent flight thing, our North Star was Lake Heron. There we go. The annual Posey family like Christmas Eve. And what else was related to Christmas Eve was the treasure hunts. Hey, what's up, Thea? How you doing? Got the whole family in here now. Christmas Eve also is a callback to the first story, where he talks about treasure hunting for his presents. Then we continue going down. Here we go. There's so much on this first page right here. Let's see. Pioneers scouting for their promised land. The cliffs all around us had stories to tell. Ancient petroglyphs sharing rock space with Spanish land grant markers. I think that's pretty significant. We'll get to that at the very end. We talk about the Sangre de Cristo Mountains, watching it all, named by the Spanish settlers with their particular habit of invoking saints and blood. So then this one story has got almost, I want to say, more family members in this story than anywhere else, which it would make sense because it's a story about family gatherings. But we have the grandma and grandpa, we've got dad, we've got Brandon and Justin. That's five. So that's five. I'm trying to think of any other, with the exception of the hey, Robert, what's going on? With the exception of the chapter where he goes into the history of the Poseys, right? So that one is all about, like, with this page right here. I don't really count that. I mean, that story definitely wins with, hey, what's up, Steven? How you doing? That story wins. But other than that, I challenge you to find another story that has as many family members in it. So we're going with five is the current winner for me with Bait Bonanza. Hey, what's going on, Jay? Hoorah, right there. So going on, let's see. More geographical. The dad's picking out a location, and then so again, there's a lot of things that are pointing to me in this story about a treasure hunt, from finding a place, from North Star, from using the mountains up above, from the petroglyphs. I just don't like that it's too much in one story, right? I think that's I don't think that out of the whole book, it's one story that cracks everything together, right? I don't like the way that train of thought goes. Another thing, because the poem talks about, let's see if we can read it verbatim here. The poem talks about round the bend past the hole, I wait for you to cast your pole. And then right here, top of page 35, we propped our fishing poles against rocks at the shoreline, hoping to catch a carp. This is the only time I can see where he talks about propping the pole against something. Most of the other time, he's actually holding the fishing pole. Now, granted, it might slip out from time to time. I think there's one or two stories where the fishing pole gets away from him. But this is the only time that I can see where they actually prop the fishing pole into something, right? I mean, a hole, you put the pole into the hole. Now, I'm not saying that that's out of the ordinary. I've seen people fish along a shoreline or a rocky shoreline where they put a pole in the rocks, right? That's not out of the ordinary. I'm just calling it out. As far as like the climax of the story here, the main point where they collected all the fish guts into a sack and then they left the sack by the water. Chasing Rainbows said, "Hey, what's up? Chasing rainbows under sombreros. What's going on?" Where they left the gunny sack full of crawfish, and then the gunny sack full of guts that attracted the crawfish. That's the way it goes. But just the words in this story right here. From that day forward, we guarded our secret like Colonel Sanders and his 11 herbs and spices. If you're following the food logic, there's a food thing for you. But I think the greatest trick wasn't catching the crawdads; it was convincing everyone that it'd be difficult. This one chapter is one that I definitely add to the list of important stories. I keep saying chapters, stories. All the terminology, the words, the story, it just seems very, very intentional. Plus, it's a family gathering, right? So I think that's pretty telling. All right, I apologize if it felt like I rushed through that story. Oh, Elon Musk, what's up? Maybe he can throw a Tesla in the chat. What's going on? I know it's probably not the Elon, but hey, how you doing from the UK? All right. Okay, now getting to the good stuff. Again, I apologize. I didn't pick out that many notes in this story. There's just a few ones, but it made me want to go to the poem. All right, so now we're moving to the poem because I'm just really excited about it. And no one else seems to be excited for me. Or if they are, they're being smart and they're keeping quiet, which I would do if I was watching also. As a matter of fact, the more I look into this, the more I really want to go. Okay, so here we go. Working through the poem. A lot of people say, can you find what lives in time? A lot of people answer, memories is a good one. And I've heard photographs or pictures. That's another one. I haven't heard anyone say this. I think I'm the first one to say it. I'm not saying that I'm the first one to think of it. I'm sure someone has thought of it. They're just not sharing it. Northern VA, maybe we'll work out a split for 50-50 gas and all that other stuff. But I'm thinking now that the first line references legend or story. All right. And again, not too many people are picking up on it, but I think it makes sense to me. Can you find what lives in time? What lives in time, a legend or a story? There's a Vortex. Yeah, always happy to do shout outs. I got to read the name first to make sure it's nothing that's going to get me in trouble, but Vortex seems to be good. So what's up, Vortex? Shout out. Yeah, so I really like the first line as in a legend or a story, right? This whole book is noticeably absent of chapters, so the whole book is full of stories, not chapters, right? So what are we looking for? What lives in time? Stories. And I call back to, I was teaching my history class about the importance of the first civilizations that used a written history, and when they transfer from oral history to written history, but the oral histories and the oral stories go back the farthest, and how important it is to actually get it down on writing. And so when I look in that area, if I interpret the first line as, can you find what lives in time? Asking you, can you find the legend or can you find the story that the poem was based on? And I think of Pecos Bill. Now, on the East Coast, I guess we have our Johnny Appleseed, right? We got Johnny Appleseed and Paul Bunyan. Paul Bunyan, I think, is maybe Midwest. I learned about him on the East Coast. So those are the two. But if you grew up in the West, elementary school, especially down in Texas, you learned about Pecos Bill. Every day I'm working through. What's up, Shane? Yeah, time has a museum on my mind. Yeah, it could be a museum. That could be a good starting point. I just caution that make sure you move away from the man-made structure, right? Because we don't want to get involved in there. Unless you believe that the checkpoint is somewhere like you got to go into a certain museum and tell them you're there for the hunt, and then they call Justin and checkpoint one passed. I don't know. But yeah, Pecos Bill, which is pretty entertaining. It's geared toward children, but it's humorous. Right, this guy that goes around lassoing tornadoes and digging, in the canyons by hand with his shovel. Hey, what's up, Diana? So, Pecos Bill. So that leads you to the Pecos River because we got to have a river on here, right? All this talk about rivers and fly fishing and memories, it's got to be there. Huckleberry Finn, yeah, I guess I would count that as like American folklore. So if you were in the in the Midwest, you know, you'd learn about Huckleberry Finn, Tom Sawyer, and them rascals. All right, so if that gets you to if lines, the first two lines get you to learn about the legend, the story, gets you to Pico's Bill, gets you to Pico's River. The next thing I really have in my mind, I like nailed down, is the Brantley Dam. So I started thinking about, stay still, I'm almost, Airwick, funny guy. As hope surges clear and bright, I think of dam, because we're already on a river, right? So the first one gets us on a river, we're walking down. How do we, where do we go from the river, or what are we looking for next? Are we looking for tributary? Are we looking for headwaters? Are we looking for where a river intersects something? Right. Well, you could look for dams along the river, and I like the aspect of hope surges. Surges. If you look at dams and surges, it's very calculated. It's an actual like defined term, and not every dam on the Pecos River. Pecos River has a bunch of dams on it. Not every dam is built equally. I'll say some are more environmentally geared toward others, and the Brantley Dam is one. There's another one more north, but the Brantley Dam is more further south, which I like that area. So that's what I have next. Clear and bright, right? Is hope surges, so the water is surging through. The water is clear and bright because it's going through. Yeah, gained a bunch of weight. Dr. Usta. Is Usta something backwards? Hetsu? Hetsu? I don't know. As the water goes through, it's clear and bright. It's white. It's frothy. It's foaming because it's moving through at a rapid pace. All right. Walk near water, silent flight. So this one. So we go to. I don't know if anything leads you to New Mexico, but we get to, if we're following the trail that I'm proposing, you get to Pecos Bill, you get to Pecos River, you get to Brantley Dam, and we're moving in a southerly direction. Next, we go to Carlsbad Flume. All right, I had to learn about this. Flume was not in my vocabulary. I don't use it on a daily basis. But another thing about the Pecos River is they claim, right, the people that live near the Pecos River, they claim it's the only river in the world that turns back on itself. And I think the Carlsbad Flume is part of that, right? They used it, and I think it goes back. Did I read 800 years? That can't be. That's a long time. It might have been 800 years. Checks, please. Yo, what's going on? Carlsbad Flume diverts a portion of the Pecos River out to like the agricultural fields and stuff like that. But the way it's designed, it kind of flows back over itself. So that's why they say it's the only river in the world that flows over itself, which could be in twist and a turn if you're into that kind of thing. Round the bend, past the hole. I wait for you to cast your pole. This one I was more leaning toward the some sort of rock formation because of that one story. But that one, I'll admit, I don't have that one fully nailed down. There's a bunch of named holes in that area. There's Blue Hole, which is a little bit more north, I think, around the Roswell area. So I don't like that we're heading south. We're going to Pecos River, past the Brantley Dam, then down to Carlsbad. I don't like that for a hole. We go back up. It just seems, hey, what's up, Tyler? It just seems weird that he'd be leading us down and then back. I'd rather move down in maybe a spiral, right? More, that's what I'm looking for. I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Just I'm hoping I can get this off my mind. I'm hoping if I fully detail it and disseminate it to the public, then I can move on. Because as of right now, like my brain is just so absorbed into this New Mexico thing that I can't think of any other states, and it's really bugging me that I can't. So I'm hoping that if I do another video on it, kind of explain my reasoning out, I can lay it to rest and focus on other stuff. I feel bad for everybody who's like doing the JCB hunt. Like I haven't been able to focus on that chapter just because I keep coming back to this. All right. So now we're down in Ursa East. This one I'm pretty excited about. So, okay, everyone's saying constellations, right? And the way Justin answered Mike's question, okay, constellations, yeah, constellations got to apply somewhere in here. I mean, he says in Ursa East. For a while there, I was toying around with the idea that it's just getting you to bear east, like to turn east at something. I'm not so much on that. When I look at the map, all right, let's go to the map, because Justin says the map is something you use, right? So I look at this and saying, how can you use the map, right? He's very intentional with that word use. How would you use a map, right? So looking at this map, like if you're trying to navigate to an area, this map isn't that helpful because it's missing a lot of stuff. I think most people, if you're trying to find home in on your solve spots, you're not going to use this map. What you're using this map for is to see if there's anything in the poem that relates to this or anything in the book that relates to this. That's how you're going to use it. So what can we find in the poem? Well, not a crazy amount, unless you want to get into codes and stuff like that. You could look for whole, right? You could look for brides. You could look for double arcs. You could look for guards, realms, kings, stuff that's named wisdom. But if you can't find that on the map, that's not really going to help you that much. So what I'm thinking is how you can use the map is through constellations. And I got that idea because you're looking at all these white dots, right? Not too many maps use a white indicator, right? The ones that I'm familiar with, ones that I'm looking at, they're more darker colored. Black is pretty common, or some other kind of dark tint. When I think of white, I automatically think of stars, especially because the capitals on here are stars, so it's not too far to make that stretch. We've already talked about the whole organ thing with his errata list, so I'm not going to recover that. But I do want to note that if I'm looking for constellations on here, and specifically with the whole Ursa in mind, minor or major, whichever one you want, you're looking for a tail. You're looking for either the square, right? The Big and Little Dipper, you're looking for a square kind of pattern of stars or white dots, or you're looking for the tail, and both of them have a tail. So if you're looking for a tail, you're looking for 3 or 4 in a row. And if you look on here, there's a few on there. Alaska's got peaks that are pointed out. Noticing that the thing about the Alaska peaks is every state over here has just the highest peak. But if you look at Alaska, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, 8. I'm finding more. It's got 8 peaks, right? Which is very different, right? So if you're a fan of Alaska, what is a constellation? A constellation. I'm Arabic, and you? I'm Hispanic. I'm kind of my family history, which is a whole different side story. That's a whole other video. It's very dynamic, I guess we'll say. A lot of different cultures mixed up to create this. Now I got distracted. Constellation. Constellation is a formation. I don't know. I should Google that. The actual definition. When I think of constellation, I'm thinking of Orion, Big Dipper, Little Dipper, Ursa Minor, Ursa Major, Pleiades, the zodiac signs. It's but I don't know the exact definition of a constellation. Tyler, I don't know. You probably just have to Google that. I don't want to make something up and mislead you because it'll be on the internet forever, and they'll say Froggy doesn't know what a constellation is. Like I know what it means to me. It's a shape, a well-defined array of stars in the sky. Now I lost my train of thought. Okay, yes, the Dipper. All right, so you're looking for, if you're focused on Ursa, you're looking for a pattern of 4 making a box or a rectangle, or you're looking for the tail. And so there's not too many patterns of 4 where you can make a square, but there are a couple tails. You can make a tail in Alaska. You could make a tail in New Mexico. That's a nice tight tail. White Sands, Alamogordo, Cloudcroft. You could kind of make a tail in Denver. I mean, in Colorado. Depending on where you look and how big your tail is, you can make it in a few other states as well. But I do want to point out that for New Mexico, besides the peaks in Alaska, New Mexico has the most what we're calling stars, white points, right? It's got Heron Lake State Park, Bandelier National Monument, you've got Alamogordo, White Sands National Park, Cloudcroft, Carlsbad Caverns, then you've got Santa Fe, the capital, and Wheeler Peak. That's 8. So I think that's tying Alaska. No other, even the massive states like California, you've only got Redwood, Mount Shasta, Sacramento, Yosemite, Big Sur, Joshua Tree. So that's 6. So you're not beating New Mexico there. Montana's got Waterton, Glacier, Bob Marshall, Helena, Polaris, Dillon, 6. Okay, Granite is right there, so that's 7. So still not beating 8. Even in the other ones, nothing else beats 8. The interesting thing about Montana is uh, Flathead Lake doesn't have a dot. Doesn't have a dot. But none of the other lakes really do. Great Salt Lake doesn't have a dot either. But Flathead Lake is so small you can't even see it on the map. But anyways, I got a little distracted. The whole point of that was to say that I think you apply a constellation over, and I don't think you have to get too crazy with the constellations. If you want, you can go ahead and follow the bride logic and all that. But I think it's Ursa Major and Minor, and you apply them, and that's what leads me to, again, New Mexico. Okay, back. Constellation overlay New Mexico. Caught that up. Okay, next we go to, so we got his bride stands guard at Asian Gates. So we've got Pecos, we've got the river, we've got Brantley Dam. We're moving down to Carlsbad. We've got the flume, so that takes us out in kind of the desert. Now we're looking for his bride. All right, this one again, I don't have it super nailed down. There's a couple noticeable ladies or women in this area. You've got Guadalupe, right? It's the Guadalupe Mountains that's there. And you've got the city of Queen, right? Which I like the Queen because it's tied to the royalty, tied to the realm and all that. If you use Guadalupe, you know, she's representative of the Virgin Mary. So that's problematic for her being a bride. You could use Joseph, right? In the biblical story, that's her husband. But Joseph wouldn't really have a realm. You know, yeah, he wouldn't, at least biblically, he wouldn't have a realm. In this area, the southern New Mexico, in that area, the realm, there's a Arthur Lake. It's not King Arthur. I think it's or just Arthur Lake, but I think of King Arthur. As far as realms, there's the, I think I called these out yesterday, Carlsbad in the caverns. There's a king's palace down there. But again, he says no caves, which, you know, there's a lot of caves in the area. So maybe he's saying he knows that the poem will take us to caves. So he's saying no caves because we use the cave as a marker. But something that was good that I liked that was brought up in the Zoom call today, if anybody was in the Zoom Calazars, I made a couple notes of things that I liked. I like whoever brought it up, trying to figure out where on these stanzas we're actually going boots on the ground, because I don't think you're going boots on the ground in the first stanza. I think you get there before the last stanza, so that leaves kind of the middle three, and I don't think you're boots on the ground on the second one. So really, in my mind, you're boots on the ground in the third or fourth stanza. That's kind of your hint from going boots on the ground, because if it's within a mile, right? And some people have moved off of that, they're using it in different ways. But if it's within a mile, having 1, 2, 3, 4 clues to lead you a mile, and 6 clues, or no, other way around. Having 4 clues to get you to the boots on the ground spot, and 6 clues to actually lead you the rest of the way, seems a little bit heavy. I wouldn't go any more than that. I like it having 5 or 6 clues that get you to the boots on the ground spot, nice little checkpoints halfway, and then having 4 or 5 clues that lead you from boots on the ground that guide you the last mile. I think 4 clues to lead you a mile is pretty good, especially in open terrain, right? I'm still a big fan of not doing it in the desert. Okay, this is where we get pretty exciting. So now we're looking at the Guadalupe Mountains area. We've moved there in sort of a logical area, I think. Now we're looking at the petroglyphs, right? Because where secrets of the past still hold, and that's a callback from today's chapter. So it's, I said it again, from today's story. So it's a great thing that, good timing that worked out, covering that story, right? The petroglyphs hold secrets of the past. That's almost a direct line. Is it a direct quote? Let me look at it one more time. He said, where's that petroglyphs? The cliffs around us had stories to tell. Ancient petroglyphs sharing rock space with Spanish land grant markers. So no, it's not a direct quote, but I think it's applicable. Okay, secrets of the past still hold. So that's petroglyphs. And from here on out, I'm really not super pressed about finding something, because this is where we're definitely boots on the ground at this point. Hey, what's going on? Got the whole family in here. What's going on, Pops? Wonder guards the sacred space. So this is just a little bit of conjecture for the last little bits, especially that he called out Spanish land monuments. And this was another call out in the Zoom call today. Somebody was familiar with that area, and they said that there's a lot of plaques or monuments that are on granite. So I don't think granite is the native geography, the native geological feature for that area, for the petroglyph park over there. But somebody bringing in like the National Park Service, whoever runs that area, would bring in special type of rocks to carve the monuments on. Or you could look into those Spanish landmarkers that he brings up. This is the only chapter that I said again. This is the only story where I think he mentions them. Spanish land grant markers. Those are great. On the East Coast, in the Appalachian Trail, we have county line markers, which are always fun to spot. So out there, it'd be great to run into some old Spanish. I need to look and see what pictures, to see if they look like arcs or if they're curved or what kind of artwork is on them, because that could be something great, something that's out there, stood the test of time. It's a common monument, common marker, easily noticeable in like a flat desert, and you can use it to get to one point to get to another. That could be a good waypoint. That's the word I'm looking for. When you're in a flat area and your boots on the ground and you got your last 4 to 5 clues, you need waypoints that tell you where to pivot, right? So you're gonna shoot off into a direction from where you park, heading towards something. You find it, you pivot, you pivot, you pivot, right? So that's kind of what I'm working with, right? I'm still again, and watched the video last night for how I got down to New Mexico to begin with. So I kind of again took a shortcut that kind of worked, got me to New Mexico, and now working backwards, figured out why am I in New Mexico before we can cross it off. So if anybody lives in that area, you know, again, I'm not advising you fly. If you live in Montana, obviously you're gonna search Montana. Don't go down to Pecos off of my word on a YouTube video. But if you live in New Mexico, if you're near Carlsbad, if you're near Queen, near Loving, near Roswell, I mean, it's only a couple hours out of your day, out of your weekend. Go check this stuff out. I have to do some more research into the land ownership, public land, and the parks, and see, you know, from what I've uncovered so far, New Mexico does have a little bit more lenient. I'll just say the right of the yeah, okay, right of the El Carving there, yeah, that could be it. New Mexico does have a little bit more lenient rules as far as I can tell and where I can see about what you're allowed to do on the public land. So we just have to figure out which public land area. And again, we're not looking for trailheads, right? Backwards. Okay, yeah. Oh, back. Oh, hey. Oh, yeah. I see what you mean. The little logo. Yeah, that could be a good waypoint. You know, once you find your get to the petroglyph park, you know, find your monument. I need to pull up pictures online. That's what I'm going to do this evening of all the different monuments that I can find in Spanish landmarkers and see if any of them kind of relate to. I mean, if you want to go the whole Spanish landmarker route, you could look into who gave the grants. That's a king and a queen right there, and he would definitely have a realm. I know I'm more familiar with the East Coast, right? You know, Queen Anne's county, so you know Queen Anne got the grants, and Lord Baltimore and all that East Coast history. But you could apply the same. Yeah, okay. So you found them, right? What do they look like? Is it just like a pillar, like a 3 foot high, kind of stone pillar out there? But yeah, I think that's a pretty good apply. I think that could apply. Okay. Yeah, I'm on the ums. Gotta check that out. Carvings in rock. Okay, carvings in rock. Maybe he was using the medicine wheel. Our Lady of the Rockies. Yeah, sorry, Clinton. I'm not the Rocky expert. For me, I interpret beyond the map's edge as beyond Fenn's map's edge. That's how I'm interpreting it. He includes Fenn's map, the territories that Fenn used, and we're looking beyond that. So instead of the mountains north of Santa Fe, like Fenn said, we're looking the south of Santa Fe. Seeing them around Arizona. I mean, Arizona, it could be one. I don't like it because it's too obvious to me, but a lot of things could fit. Also, I don't think I'm looking for more of the terrain, trying to stay away from anything dangerous. I do think it's buried, so I don't think it'd be the flat stretches of Arizona where like water could come in and wash it all away. All right, good. So I'm glad someone's under the New Mexico train. We got to get some people that live in New Mexico to get on board the New Mexican train so they can go out and explore it. So if anybody watching this, if you have New Mexican family, New Mexicans, New Mexicans, I'm not sure how to say it, but if you got family out there, send them this video. Tell them, we're looking. I should have some maps out later to kind of pinpoint a general area because Southern New Mexico is huge, right? You're not going to say, hey, there's gold in Southern New Mexico. It's like, no, duh, of course there's gold out there. But we're looking, we've got the Three Forks rivers that are north of Queen. You've got, again, we're not looking in Carlsbad. We're not looking in Carlsbad caverns either, because you got to pay in these caves. But using them, that's where you turn west. The big clock would be, that big clock could be the container. Oh, that reminds me. I don't know if I said this on camera, but the big clock, now I'm working with the Netflix clues. I've changed that to mean hands. He's seen manipulating the hands. I think that was an indicator. I don't really like the times anymore. I don't really like the Roman numerals anymore, or using the times and numbers in some sort of math formula or something complicated, or GPS coordinates. I think that it's pointing you to the hand chapter, which again reinforces in my mind my deep, deep bias that I can't get rid of. Hopefully I can get rid of it soon. Constellations. I'll read it out to you. It's called Grandma's Hands. I should just look at the table of contents, because that would, instead of trying to guess where it's at. Yeah, let's go to table of contents. 142. 142. Here we go, reading it direct from the book. My grandmother's hands were always purposeful, right? He's purposely moving the Netflix hands. My grandmother's hands were always purposeful, whether kneading dough or pointing out constellations. Boom, there we go, pointing out constellations. Now you have it. Clock face, Special Gold, Arizona, seeing the Spanish markers. Good, yeah, so I've got to do some research on the Spanish markers, especially near the petroglyphs, the petroglyph park outside of Cloudcroft, or where was it at? If you look at the map around the gift shop, he puked on the smell. It looks like a huge head puking to missile range if you had to zoom out. Oh, you mean the book face? This looks like a huge head? I really like what someone said. He looks like that trapper guy. And I did kind of see he looks like that trapper guy, that French trapper guy. All right. If there's nothing else here, I think that's all the important stuff I wanted to convey. Hopefully I can either convince somebody in New Mexico to kind of poke around the petroglyph parks, take a look at some of the monuments or plaques out there, and see if you see double arches, see if the Spanish markers have anything to do with a king or a queen. If they have like a shorthand for a king or a queen on them, that points you off to some direction. Something out there. No Google Earth by Potrero Peak. Wait, what's Clinton saying? Maybe he was using Medicine Wheel or laid the Rockies or Wyoming. No Google Earth by Potrero Peak. I'm not sure. Oh, you're saying the it looks like a head puking. Oh, okay. Maybe. I don't know. I have to peek around. I've been using the map on the book. I haven't been using too much Google Map or Google Earth. All right. If there's anything else anyone wants to bring up, I'm gonna go do some research. Hey, your future's bright, man. Don't knock yourself. All right, you got a bright future ahead of you, especially if you keep watching this channel. So a little bit of humor there. All right, I'm taking it off. It looks like we got some homework to do. If you know anyone in New Mexico, send them this video. We gotta get some New Mexicans out there.